Hello, everyone. I want to let you know about the new services system that we have. This has been updated on the website now. I mentioned recently how I was setting up like a sort of non-exclusive talent agency in a lot of air quotes. It's just a casual system we're doing now where, because I've managed to find people work in the past just from, talking about them on this channel or social platforms or through collaborations that I've done with them, people have made money from those connections. And we decided that for the sake of fairness and to lean into it a little bit more professionally, we'll do a system where I will put a little bit more effort into finding clients for these people. And in return for that, I will get a commission on the earnings from that. So on the services page here on codasol.online/services, you can see there's just a couple of demonstrations from some of the people in the talent pool. This does not represent everyone in the talent pool because we'll talk a bit more about that. There's a lot of technicalities, but I am sort of opening it up to multiple people. So if you are looking for work, you can apply, but also if you are looking for talent, so if you tend to be a client, if you have money to spend, if you have projects that you want artists for, then hey, we have an official system now. You can get in contact and I can find someone for you. The way it's working at the moment is I have a database of people that have already signed agreements, and then there's an extra number of people that have not signed agreements yet, but they are ready to when work becomes available. There's a range of budgets available because I have people that kind of tend to charge different amounts, some a bit lower, some quite high because they've got quite a large body of experience. And what I said a minute ago about the stuff visually here not representing everyone on the pool, some people have given me permission to just put their work up with or without credit, whereas other people, technically more the heavy hitters with the higher budgets, I haven't asked them for the right to show their portfolio stuff yet, although they'll probably say yes. But it's just one thing to keep in mind. We've got kind of people sitting in the wing that have done like introductions to large animated shows and stuff, the really fun things that play at the beginning of shows, and people that do visual effects on movies and stuff like that. I made a quick note on the services page here, tell us your requirements. We'll try to connect you with a suitable creative. We've got specialisms for product visualization, geometry nodes, procedural tool design. By the way, if you don't know, a fair number of the Blender YouTubers that are the most popular, that demonstrate some geometry nodes in their videos, being non-specific, don't even make the geometry nodes tools themselves, particularly when demonstrating concepts. And one of the people that's already signed up to the system and signed my agreement is the person that these Blender YouTubers tend to go to for their geometry nodes tools. So if you want the geometry nodes advisor for the professional Blender community, the professional Blender education space, then I can patch you through. We've got shader/material nodes expertise. Like I said, visual effects. They're quite busy, these ones, and hopefully I'll be able to add more to the pool to kind of lighten that up a bit. So though I will probably be able to patch you through to someone, I don't know about their availability. So this is why if you do visual effects, if you do want to look for more work, you can actually apply to this talent system. We'll talk a little bit about that in a second. Lighting, animation, by the way, I haven't written animation down, but we've got one or two people in the wings as well. Again, they haven't signed the agreement yet because a lot of people are waiting to see whether I can get them clients. But we have two animators in the wings. One is more specialist for 2D animation that is interested in work, but they are a little bit busy as well. But I haven't written it down yet because I want to do a little bit more talent gathering in that department before I actually write that down. So if you are an animator, you can get in contact. And we've written bespoke add-on development as well, although while there is a fairly large grouping for that, one of my favorites is MIA at the moment. They're not responding on social, so I may need to try and just check in with them to see if they're doing all right. But I know that there's quite a lot of these hovering around. So that's why there are some extra specialisms I want to put on here. But for now, I've only listed the ones that I'm fairly confident I can provide you with from the ones that have signed up to the agreement already. But like I said, you can sign up to this system if you want. I won't make anyone sign an agreement yet, although there are technicalities about that. So let's take a look. If you scroll down to the bottom of the services page, we go get in touch. So this is pretty much for everyone. If you are a studio or if you're looking for a creative talent of some kind, but you don't know where to go, maybe you've got a budget. I should actually maybe put like a little budget section in here, but I don't always like asking for a budget straight up front, but maybe I will. I'll do it as an optional thing. You can just fill out the form. Under what service are you interested in? You can choose connecting with talent. So if you're a client looking for a creative, that's what you would choose. You can do collaboration with Curtis. This is for people that are looking for sponsorships or all the other regular stuff, or other, because you never know. Tell me about your project goals in here. You can expand this, by the way. Just type in what you want, what you need, everything that you think will be helpful for me or whoever else is manning the emails to help you out. So for example, if you're a client, you'd go connecting with talent. You'd say, hey, my project is about this. We do this. We got these requirements. Maybe you put in a notice about your budget if you wanted, unless I put in an extra field for that. We have a time frame for this if you wanted, etc., etc. Looking forward to hearing from you, blah, blah, blah. And then you would submit. If you're a creative, look looking for work, now again, don't get your hopes up too much because, there has been a bit of a drop off in like clients around. But even still, there's no harm in clicking on interested in applying as a creative talent. So you can click there and we have a speculative application form. Now, remember, I said there is an agreement. So if I do find work for someone, they do need to sign an agreement, and it will basically say that, okay, well, for any money made from a client that we connect you with, you will pay a small commission. It is relatively small. I'll tell you straight up, it's about 15% on earnings from that client within a time period. So it's not forever. It's just within a certain time period. And there is an additional time period that we call the limit of promise, which is basically where if you're promised an earning within the original time period, but the client is late to paying, because that can happen, then the limit of promise is like this kind of catch area just to catch the late payments that were promised in the original time period. But other than that, it's completely non-exclusive, so it doesn't apply to all of your work or all of your clients. It's only specifically for the clients that we find you. And there are some extra terms as well about, kind of keeping track of the data and the communication, and you agreeing not to subvert the system. Like we catch exceptions and stuff like that in the agreement. But like I said, technically nothing is required to be signed before we find someone, although there are some benefits to signing early because it helps us to advertise you. So on this talent application page, it says, before submitting this form, understand that submission does not guarantee that you will receive any response, nor does it guarantee that you will receive any client work. So I have to say that straight up because, other times when opening forms to the public, we always get some weird stuff come through. Like I just updated my casual sponsorship policy as well because I'm opening up the sponsorships again in a slightly different way. So if you want a sponsorship on my social platforms, you can get in contact again. But, things have happened in the past where we've had, it's not strictly terrible, but imagine that I get a request through from someone that says, oh, I would like you to sponsor my add-ons. And then I look at their branding and it's like, Blaze It add-ons, 420, Smokers Unite, or something like that. And I'm like, do you realistically think I'm going to say that on video? So that's happened once. I'm sorry if you're watching, but come on, guys. So I do say that not everyone's going to get a response because I am not going to respond to unsuitable things. Suitable applications will be added to a private speculative database. So this basically means that if you're applying to kind of join this talent system through this speculative form, you don't have to sign like the final agreement. It's basically you'll just be added to a personal database so that whoever's doing the matching process, if there's no one already suitable who's already agreed to the system, then we can look at the speculative database that you'll be part of and go, okay, well, maybe we can bring this person into the fold. They're looking great. Their Instagram, their ArtStation looks fine. They've done some previous work. We can bring them in, offer it to them, etc. that way. So the speculative is you're just putting your name out there and going, look, I exist. So you'll be added to a database of potential talent who can then be contacted if appropriate work arrives. In that event, an agreement will have to be signed whereby you would agree to paying a commission on earnings made from connected clients within a given time period. Again, there's not really much to lose from that. You don't have to take on the clients that we give you, once the agreement's been signed. You could totally sign the agreement and then just fucking ignore me forever, and it wouldn't make any difference. This stuff only applies to if you accepted the clients that we offered you. You have a choice every step of the way. The agreement is non-exclusive, so it only applies to clients that are found by us, because it may be me or I may get help during the matching process. That's why if you're wondering why I'm using the term us throughout this, it is mostly me manning this. But depending on the overflow and the workload, then I'll bring in some other assistants as well. And this has absolutely no bearing on other areas of your work. Our terms will be outlined in the agreement. However, there is no need to sign during the speculative application process. As such, there is nothing to lose by submitting your portfolio and making yourself known. So just let me know who you are. Tell me what you like doing. Like I said, I'm looking for extra people to fill in the animator spot. And it'd be nice to get a few more for the bespoke add-on development. But other than that, I'll put anyone on the speculative database. If your work does not have to be extremely high quality, by the way. Suitably nice enough for me to offer people, but the thing is, clients have different requirements, different budgets and different expectations and different sizes. I'm okay working with studios and individuals. So even if you're just a single person who wants to, I don't know, get a gift made for a loved one, because that can happen, I can connect you with an artist that can do that perfectly fine. In fact, I've got one in mind that already does stuff like that. Oh, another area as well, architectural viz, I could probably do with a few more for that. I don't have a lot of people in the periphery pool that do architectural viz, but I know there are a lot of them in the community. So it would be nice to get a few of you to do the speculative sign up. So we'll walk through this. For the form, Just first name, last name, email. These are required. For the names, you can put multiple names if you like. I don't mind if you put them in the first or the last, because I know the names can be a bit weird. If you have problem with entering special characters, let me know, but I think it should be all right. Phone, optional. You don't need to put a phone in, but if you do, try and include the country code. By the way, the email is just a text field. Next section, portfolio/reels. This is required. I say links to any collections of work, ideally with information about the projects, workflows, clients, etc. That's not required. Purely visual portfolios of personal work are still fine. So basically, it would be nice to see what kind of work you've done in the past for clients, but just work alone is fine. I'm not going to be like filtering people out too harshly based on the type of work. I think it'd be nice to give new people some chances. No download links will be discarded. We're not downloading anything from you. Use of short links or tracking links will lead to the deletion of your submission. Yep, straight up, don't do that. We've had people do that in the past. If you think we can't see that, then you're not very smart. But most people won't be doing that, so don't worry about it. What type of projects are you comfortable with? So there's a couple of elements to this. What types of projects do you spend the most time working on? But we know that what you spend the most time working on might not be what you want to do. So what are the ideal types of client projects you would want to receive? You may not have an answer for that, in which case just say, I'm open to all sorts, but it'd be nice if you could give us some direction. Like if you know you spend most of your time doing product visualization and branding, just write that down. This is not a hard line, one answer thing. Just write down your thoughts. You can give very human answers. That actually does help quite a bit. Following on from that, what software are you comfortable with using? And I've noted here, please do not big yourself up without portfolio proof. Adding many software packages for the sake of it will reduce the chances of being matched, as we'll be looking for proof of expertise when matching talent with clients. So again, this depends on the client. It's very reasonable just to put one or two software packages that you are truly comfortable with. You may also include information about the different types of work you do per software. So I know that some people might feel a bit weird about just writing Blender and nothing else, but I will tell you that is perfectly fine. The portfolio is more important than the software proficiency. To be honest, I don't really care how you get things done because I've always kind of hated, like the industry elitism around certain types of software. So the software doesn't matter so much, but it's literally just for data reasons and just for filtering within the database. Let's say, for example, that a client specifically has a Blender file and they want something modified to it or changed. Well, then I'm not going to pick out like a Maya user for that. That's why the filtering would be important for cases like that. I'm going to be like, okay, well, we need a Blender expert for that. Let's filter them out that way. Otherwise, the software proficiency doesn't really matter so much for a lot of clients who just only care about like a video output. You know what I mean? So there's no point just writing every single software under the sun. You're not trying to convince a computer. Me or someone else is going to be reading this. And if we see someone with, an early 3D artist portfolio and they've listed out every single software, you're probably going to get the submission discarded. Just be honest. Just write Blender or Blender Substance Painter, Blender Houdini. It doesn't even need to be Blender related. I'm just saying Blender because we're a Blender channel. Rhino. If you only work in Rhino, just write Rhino. Fusion 360, Premiere. We're not specifically targeting just 3D stuff. Just be honest. If there's one thing that I've hated when kind of looking back through industries, again, like the visual effects industry, the application process, they get so many people filtering through and they have like automated systems to filter out like education levels and stuff like that. Do you have a degree in X, Y, Z, etc.? And then there'll be an auto filtering process. I hate that. Leave some of the humanity in, please. You can literally write, I feel okay with this, but I only do this for this, etc. Fine, do that. Next section, pricing, optional. It is natural to have a variable pricing system that changes over time and with the type of client. Because I do that with my sponsorships, I will adjust the price based on whether it's a corporate client, studio, independent, whatever. However, for the purposes of matching talent to client budgets, because some clients have very specific budgets, it is useful to know roughly how much you might charge for different types of work. This is optional and does not require specific values because sometimes it's very difficult to give that information without any context for the work. If you cannot provide specific values, you might find it easier to describe previous client earnings or like a specific case that you had to deal with in the past. Again, this is optional, but it gives me or whoever's doing the matching an idea for, okay, the pattern of work that the client's describing does sound like what this person has done before. In that way, it's almost like a kind of personality matching when it comes to working with money. Weird thing to describe, but you don't have to put an answer in. Much like software proficiency, do not big yourself up for the sake of it. Like if you come along in here and you're like, I have proficiency with all the software and I charge £5,000 per minute. It's like, okay, that's not really helping us to find the client the best match. You know what I mean? Just be sensible and honest. Don't big yourself up for the sake of it, as that's going to reduce the chance of finding work. Then there's a few confirmations down here. So 2 are required and 2 are completely optional. So I'll explain these. Number 1, age verification. I confirm that I'm over 18 years of age. Obviously, if you are a young person and you're excited about like getting into work with 3D and that, do not fill out this form. I should probably incorporate some kind of ID verification for the agreement phase, but thankfully so far all the people that I've been getting to sign up to the agreement are people that I know already. I've spent a lot of time talking to. So if you're not prepared to verify your age, then don't try it. Don't try and get through the form. Just leave it. And if the system's still running at a later time, when you've got more experience and you're older, then maybe come back and submit. But otherwise, don't try it. Data storage. I consent to the storage of the information submitted in this form, and it's used for the purpose of matching me with potential clients. So technically, I don't think I even need to add this, because just by submitting anyway, you're basically just doing that anyway. But I added it just in case. It basically just means, I can add some of these details or even write my own interpretations of the details just in our little database to keep an eye on you, or rather to keep you in mind. So these 2 are optional ones. Earlier on in the form, you submitted a link or something related to a portfolio and or reel. And there is a complexity in that, because to find potential clients for you, it would be nice for us to share some of that work. There are situations where it would be nice to credit you while doing that, and situations where it'd be nice to withhold your name while doing that as a tactic to encourage clients to contact for more information. Now, you know me, I'm very much on the side of respect the artist. We want artists to be credited everywhere. But to be realistic, with this type of work, we need to be a little bit strategic when communicating with clients. That's not really something I should probably say out loud for potential clients, but I'm just saying it for the artists here. We will sometimes need to play psychological games with people, because that's how business really operates, right? So there's 2, again, completely optional things you can sign here. 1 is the advertisement of work credited. I consent to allowing the use of content from the submitted portfolios with credit in the process of attracting clients, and understand that this content may be shared on a range of public social platforms. By ticking this, what you're saying is I can take things from your portfolio and show them to people anywhere, so long as I provide your name with it as well. Now, this kind of defeats the point of the system, because it will allow potential clients to subvert the talent agency system and just go to you directly, which is why it's very unlikely that this will happen before you sign the agreement. And I'm sure some people will have questions like, well, how can you check? How can you track whether clients have been found through your efforts? Well, the agreement kind of goes over some of that. But basically, realistically, the only people I'm going to be sharing alongside their name are the ones who have already signed the agreement. So it's unlikely that this will happen just from this speculative form, but it's here just in case we have a change of tactic and we want to do that anyway. And then there's the next one. So this one is, again, this would be controversial, I think, in any other case, but I'll explain this. So advertisement of work non-credited. I consent to allowing the use of content from the submitted portfolios without credit in the process of attracting clients, and understand that this content may be included in compilation reels alongside the work of other unnamed talent. So the kind of situation this might occur in is if we were sending a reel to potential clients that was an amalgamated mashup of different talent within the pool to say, we can connect you to this massive talent, and then they will watch a reel that is an amalgamated mashup. And it won't specifically say who the artists are, but it's like, if you want to find out who they are, contact here. So that's the kind of thing you'd be allowing by doing that. This is, out of the 2 of these, from the speculative form, this is the most likely one that will occur. If you wanted to go from speculative to actually getting an agreement. But naturally, it is weird. I'll say that here. It is weird giving someone the right to share your work without the name as well. But here's one way to think about that as well. Typically, the reason why we as artists would be uncomfortable with someone else sharing our work without credit is because, well, we want people to know that it's our work, and then we want people to find us because of that. Right? This is a slightly different situation, because the act of sharing without credit is specifically to get someone to find you, because we're trying to attract the client to contact to get more information on the part of the reel that they liked, if it was a reel, or on the image that they liked. So if they see your work and then they go, oh, I like that one, who did that? And then we can begin the connection process. But again, I totally understand not everyone will be comfortable with that, which is why it is completely optional. Obviously, it requires trust between us as well, that you will trust me that I won't exploit your work for other reasons. But that's why we specifically say in the process of attracting clients. So not, oh, just share their work freely for whatever reason I find fun. That the reason for sharing the work without credit is specifically for that purpose. So if you don't want to agree to that, fine, just submit. And again, to clarify, these little tick boxes are not the agreement noted up here. There is a full-on agreement that you have to sign when appropriate. But again, I say you have to sign. You can decline everything. Like if I find a client and I go, hey, you signed this speculative form a little while ago and I found something that might be appropriate for you. Do you want to sign up to the agreement now for the commission thing? And then I can connect with the client. You can still say no. You can like just ignore, back out, whatever, because people's interests change. That's all fine. See that form's there? Again, that's found at the bottom of the services page. And when we fill in some of the extra spaces, then, I can flesh this out a bit. So I'm just letting you know that that's there. I know a lot of people are struggling and looking for work right now. So you don't really have much to lose just by signing up to it. And again, I can't guarantee you clients because of the less work available. But again, if you are offering work and if you do need jobs done, once again, get in contact, because a benefit you get through this system rather than trying to find people yourself is you get a helper agent. And by the way, I'm not charging anything for this at the moment. And maybe I never will, but it depends like how demand goes. You get a helper agent who will effectively be a matchmaker for you. And if it doesn't work out with one client, I'll be able to offer you another and another and another, and in some cases mediate between certain issues. But before anyone asks, I am otherwise not involved in the work process. Once you are connected with a client, that is it. I'm out. You still have to pay a commission. That's outlined in the agreement. But there are options that will be outlined. There are ways I can jump back in and help if required, in which case the commission timer will reset. But there'll be more conversation about that further on. So I'm sure people watching this video, some of them who will have warnings about a system like this as well. Like, oh, Curtis, be careful. Don't want to get muddled up in like client things this way or that way. I've already heard a bunch of warnings. We've already considered a lot of that in the agreement. Basically, the default perspective for me is once a connection's been made, I am not involved. Any problems are yours to deal with the client. I'm just here to point people in the right direction. I'm effectively just intel. I'm providing intel, I'm providing suggestions, and I'm getting a commission. It seems to be something I'm apparently quite good at. So yeah, have a look, and I'll catch you next time.